Dracula, I'm a modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern woke up just before dawn. Well, I had to take a ride. I had to make it home before the sun would rise. Pull down the shades, I sleep all day. I make my best moves at night. These days I gotta be careful about the girls that I fight. Clad in black, beware of my attack when the moonlight hits the land. The cross of Christ I do not fear, but I fear religion. Understand I'm not evil, well I'm just short of blood. I get a little every night, but I never seem to get enough. Modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern
Stevie Davis, neighboring.
female vampire, she took my blood. Now I'm forced to live this life. Stalking your ground for eternity. Well, I'm a creature of the night. So if you see a shadow behind you while you're walking in the dark, you better be prepared with a wooden stake and drive it straight through my heart. Modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern Modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern day Dracula, modern day.
All right, all right, all right. This is Dr. J, and I'm at an undisclosed location in the mountains because summoning demons, some people don't like that you do that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about King Paimon. If you've ever seen Hereditary, that is the demon from that movie. And what I'm going to do is see if I can fix this camera here. This is also going live on YouTube and TikTok at the same time. And I apologize, I'm away from my studio, so everything is very, very bare bones. So I'm going to do my best. If you have questions, either on YouTube or on TikTok, let me know. But we're going to get into how do you summon the demon King Paimon. And it's not hard, actually. That's the big thing. Like if you watched Hereditary, that's a movie. It's a horror movie. They've exaggerated a lot of this stuff. There'll be no beheadings. You don't need to do that. So what we're going to do is first we're going to talk about a little bit. If you haven't listened to the podcast, The Real Demons of Pop Culture, I highly recommend you do that. That way you can get a lot more information on the demon. So obviously you don't want to do it now, but after the podcast or after this live, you can definitely go to this week's podcast. And it looks like that's an old thing on there. It says going live on YouTube to talk about 5 types of Jinn. That's an older live. I don't know why it's saying that because I did put something else up there. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them. So let's get into it. Let's talk about King Paimon, one of the kings of hell. And we're going to give you the summoning guide. So just so you know, he's not an evil demon. So don't be afraid. If you have good intentions and you're respectful, you'll have no issues. So he was mentioned in a book, a grimoire called The Lesser King of Solomon, but he's also in many other different books. And like I said, if you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that. But let's just talk about why we're here. Now, if you want to follow along at home and summon Paimon at home, probably not going to be able to happen because there's a lot of things you need to really be in the right mindset. But take notes. If you have a pen and paper, take notes, and this would be really good for you. So there are tons of demons, by the way. King Paimon's just one, and we're doing this because my show is The Real Demons of Pop Culture, and when there's a movie out that features a demon, I'm definitely going to talk about that demon, and that's why we're talking about King Paimon. If you have any, I'm trying to get some roses here, so if you're on TikTok and you want to send a rose, we got a goal of 10 roses to hit this evening. But let's go on. So you can summon many demons. Just in the Lesser King of Solomon, there are 72 demons. So, but let's move on. So why would you want to summon Paimon? Explicitly, why him, right? And you have to have a clear and correct reason, and you got to be very specific about what that reason is, because he could play little tricks, if you're not clear enough. So here are some things you may want to summon Paimon for. Knowledge of all arts and sciences. Okay, that's one. He can reveal the nature of reality and mind, and the two are interconnected. He can provide you with dignity. So if you want to have a cool reputation, have a good rep, people look up to you, King Paimon. He can turn any person into your servant or dependent. So if you kind of want to bind somebody to your will, that would be definitely a reason to summon King Paimon. All right. He can also provide good familiars, which is servants and friends, spiritual or physical. So if you want to get that, and obviously wealth is there too. So if you really want to get wealthy, you might want to summon King Paimon and ask for riches. So that's something you can do. So these are good reasons to call upon Paimon. You should look into other demons if you're trying to find something else. Like, for example, if you want to fall in love, have someone fall in love with you, there are better demons for that than Paimon. But for this kind of stuff, you're really going to be really in good luck. Hello, Haifa from Saudi Arabia. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear you love my videos. Welcome. So we just got to start it. You need to think of a really good reason why you want to summon King Paimon. So come up with a very clear and concise reason for summoning Paimon. Now, you want to get your head in the right space. You don't want to just sit down and start chanting. Try meditation. So 30 minutes of meditation. I like to have a space that, to me, puts me in the mindset also. Now, don't freak out. If you don't have an altar or a space that's quiet and that you can use, it doesn't matter. Just find a place that you feel like is quiet and you can concentrate and you can just get in the right mindset, right? So you want to kind of get in a meditation state. Some people call it a trance state. And what you want to do is just get your head in the right place for doing a summons or an invocation. So there are little altars you can make, have some candles lit, and just make the space feel like, to you, it's a good place to make this happen. All right? So once you get into that, then you can summon Paimon. I'm going to give you all you would need. So definitely a quiet place, indoor or outdoors, a table, 4 candles, and a piece of paper and a pen. Now, there's different ways that people have. So one example would be you could draw a big circle on the ground, and then this circle has to be enough space for you and King Paimon. So imagine how big that would be for like 2 people. Make a big enough circle. Now, I'll give you a couple different ways you can do this. You have your 4 candles, and that is because you're going to call the 4 cardinal directions, right? So you invoke the demons Belial, Belial, that's Belial, to the north. Let me make sure I'm not getting any. Yeah, it's good. So Belial to the north, Lucifer to the east, Phaeris to the south, and Leviathan to the west. So they're the guardians of the earth, air, wind, fire, all that stuff, and water, respectively. Then you can call upon Satan to center. So you're going to call Satan into the center, and that's going to bind and balance the elements. And once all that is done, you can call out to Paimon, ask him to join the circle, and he will answer your questions and fulfill your requests. Now, that is one way. And some people suggest that calling Satan or Lucifer, because they're kind of difficult to deal with, that you might not have to do that. So there's these weird hierarchies when it comes to these demons, and you might want to, and no matter who you're calling, you've got to be respectful when you're calling everyone. But there are others who suggest you can just get the 4 candles, put them at the 4 cardinal directions, and then you can then draw Paimon's sigil, which is the symbol for Paimon. And you meditate on that. You can have that. And there's also a chant. Each demon has their own chant. And so what you can do is basically get a quiet place, set up a table, light your 4 candles, draw all the sigil on the paper, the symbol on the paper, and then just get your head in the right space. Meditate. Get all the day stuff out of the way. Just all that junk that's in your head. Get your head quiet. Get it ready to do this. Then draw that sigil on a piece of paper, place it in the middle of the table, and make sure you then place all your cardinal direction candles, north, south, east, west. By the way, if you're not sure, your iPhone does have an app on it that is called Compass. And you can use your iPhone Compass app to know which way is north, south, east, and west. If you're in a room and you're not really sure, you definitely can do that. And I suggest that because it's very important to face a certain direction depending on who you are invoking. So that's a little iPhone app tip. I'm sure any Androids or whatever also have Compass apps. I'm an iPhone user, so that's why I'm bringing that up. All right. So we lit the candles. They're north, south, east, and west. When you're lighting them, you're going to light the candle starting with the one pointing to the north, then east, then south, and then west. I hope you're writing all this stuff down. Zoe G. Anderson, welcome. Welcome, everyone. All right. So we just lit the candles north, east, south, and west. And some people suggest you can keep your arms stretched out to your sides with your palms facing to the sky as you chant Paimon's and or his chant. And here it is. Now you can look this up online because there's a lot of websites that have the chants for each demon. And it's Linan, Tassa, Jaden, Paimon. Linan, Tassa, Jaden, Paimon. And you can do this, it's a chant, so you can get your head in the right space by almost getting into this trance, by just sitting there, having your candles lit. Lanan, Tassa, Jaden, Paimon. You got everything in place. You just keep doing this. And there are videos on YouTube that'll actually get the correct pronunciations, which is funny to me. I always think about if you ever seen Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, and it's the Evil Dead trilogy, and he has to go and say the 3 words when he steals the Necronomicon, and it's like Klaatu Varata Nikto. And if you don't know those are the words from The Day the Earth Stood Still. So the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, the robot kind of goes on this rampage, and you have to say to the robot the Klaatu Varata Nikto, and that's the words they use in Army of Darkness. Very fun stuff. Okay, so let's go on. Once you have the ritual, this part is kind of tough for me to guide you because you're going to keep chanting, you're going to stay in your position, you're going to get into that trance state, and you're going to start feeling that you're getting where you need to be. If you have any questions in the chat room and TikTok, feel free to shout them out, your questions. All right. Like I said, if you're watching, I'm in an undisclosed location in the mountains, and I have this bare bones system right here that I'm recording on. So it's not going to be the best audio and video quality as I would hope. But we're just doing this real quick lesson here. So you can get really crazy with this if you want to swirl and dance, move around the table a little bit. Gaze at that symbol. Just gaze at that symbol. See it change. Maybe it'll become 3-dimensional. And then once you feel you're there, you can stop the chanting and call out to Paimon and have him approach. Now, this is the part that if you listen to the podcast, the Real Demons of Pop Culture podcast episode that just aired this Monday, he is King Paimon, and he comes with a lot of fanfare. So you're going to have, he's got a huge booming voice, very loud entering. So you might hear it. A lot of times in this, you might speak and then answer yourself. And that's how you know, okay, he's answering. But you might not understand. It might be noisy at first, and that's because he comes in loud, and you need to compel Paimon to bring the volume down and to be clear in the language so you can understand what it is. Also, um, they say that he's preceded with an entourage of, musicians and cymbals and trumpets and all this noise. So when he's coming in, it's just like a big procession. And we'll get into some of the other things that might be part of this. But once you feel that you've connected with Paimon, you've invoked Paimon, and you hear that he has entered, um, you got to communicate your questions, your desires. This is where you ask Paimon for help in conjuring any goal, and you ask in your own words, respectfully, but with self-confidence. Um, you don't want to give over your power, your personal power, to the entity, right? You just want to be respectful, but not submissive. Okay. That's kind of what we're getting at here. And so, this stage of the ritual, um, it might be your voice being used by the demons, using your voice. It might be in your head that you're hearing it. Um, so, be aware of that. And also, um, once you feel like your time, your answer, all your questions have been answered, or you gain confirmation that Paimon's going to work with you to get what you need. Like, this stuff it's not going to happen instantly, right? You might have questions and then you get the answers, right? That's easy. You're done. You might have something you want, and so you kind of invoked Paimon to help you gain that. Let's just keep it silly and just say you want a promotion at work. So you summon King Paimon. He agrees to work with you on this promotion. So that paper, now this is one suggestion. You can have that paper where you draw the symbol on it, and you keep that paper, you keep it somewhere safe and respectful and away from dogs eating them or something. You just keep that paper until you get that promotion. Like, that's, you kind of have a little deal there with the demon, and now that you have that, you just keep it in a safe, respectful place, and once you get the promotion, you can rip it up. However, if you summon Paimon and you had questions and you got answers during the summons, after you're done, you can rip it up, because it's basically, you keep the paper that you drew the symbol on until you feel like whatever it is that you guys agreed on is complete. So that's something you can do. And that's how you end the ritual, right? So you let the demon leave, and then you either keep the paper until whatever it is you asked for is complete, or if everything is complete, then just rip it up. You destroy the paper. You can burn it. You can rip it up, throw it in a river. But it feels like littering, so I wouldn't do that. And then you go and reap the benefits of working with Paimon. So let's talk about some other things that come up with this, right? So what about a group? You can do it with a group. So summoning in a group can be beneficial due to everyone being involved, and it may be like really cool for Paimon to show up because you got everybody involved, but you all got to be in the right mindset, right? If you got people who are goofing off and everything and it's not respectful, then the group's not going to be the right answer for you. You don't have to offer anything in thanks. So that you can, it's not necessary, but you can. And I'm going to get to offerings in a second. And I don't see any reason why not to have an offering. But honestly, just to summon Paimon, it's as simple as, draw that circle on the ground, get the 4 candles into the cardinal directions, chant, call Paimon. There's different things you can do, like I said. But the offerings, we're going to get into some of that. So I don't see any problem with offering. Some people feel like I've heard that the offering feels more like you're being too subservient, and that can give the demon a little bit too much control. So I don't agree necessarily with that, though. So Now let's go about how he arrives. Like I said, he's um oh wow. Thank you for the roses. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is so cool. Who's that big boss? It's a funny font, but I think it says Big Boss. Thank you so much. Ryan Zimmerman, welcome. All right. So you've done everything, and now you summon Paimon. And like I said, he comes with a host of spirits. Some even say like he comes with some of his legions of spirits. Um, you know, how Paimon arrives, if he comes with the big fanfare, which it seems like in every case there's a big fanfare. He also travels with two lesser kings and an army. So, going to give you the names. It's Babel and Abilam are the two lesser kings that come with him. So that is where the offering might come into play also, because you want to have offerings for all the spirits involved when they're coming. And 25 of the 200 spirit legions under his control will be arriving as well. So you can have extra offerings for the spirits that he brings with him. And there could be some mischief. You don't know, because most of the time they're pretty cool, but, you know, they could be unstable. But as long as you're respectful, courteous to all the spirits, you should be pretty cool, pretty cool. And so, like I said earlier, you can call Satan to be an intermediary to summon Paimon. So you could contact a greater demon to help summon Paimon. Summoning Satan is almost always a good bet. Wait until nightfall. Draw the pentagram on the floor. Place 5 candles at each of the 5 points and light them. Keep Paimon's symbol, the sigil, with you either on paper, memorized, or inscribed in the pentagram. All right, and here's this prayer that you can use. Lord Satan, by your grace grant me, I pray, thee the power to conceive in my mind and to execute that which I desire to do, the end which I would attain by thy help, Almighty Satan, the one true God who liveth and reignest forever and ever. I entreat thee to inspire Paimon to manifest before me, that they may give me true and faithful answers, so that I may accomplish my desire. Accomplish my desired end, provided that it is proper to his or her office. This I respectfully and humbly ask you, in your name, Lord Satan, may you deem me worthy, Father. And when the prayer is complete, wait for a sign of Paimon's presence. If he comes politely, communicate with him and be respectful when making requests. Thank you. If anybody is giving gifts, really appreciate that. Very kind of everyone. So let's go back just real quick. I wanted to go back for things. Remember, Paimon has certain specialties, so you kind of want to invoke him for arts and sciences. That's one that you can definitely invoke Paimon if you want to get better at art, better at science, know more about art, know more about sciences, or the reality of the mind. If you want to get all like psychedelic with it, you could take psychedelics, but I'm not saying you should, but you could to help with the sort of trance state. But that, you know yourself. I'm not telling anybody to do anything like that, but I don't want anybody to freak out. If you want dignity, that's another reason you want to get somebody to kind of bend to your will. It's another reason why you might do it. And good friends. Maybe you need some friends, right? Spiritual or physical friends, you definitely can use Paimon. Okay, so let's talk about what some people think, that you need to have some kind of sacrifice, right? If you want to do what they would call blood magic as safely as you can put a lit candle in the middle of the pentagram and prick your finger, allowing a few drops to emerge. Call out to Paimon, asking for his presence, allow a few drops to fall into the candle flame, and put out the candle. Paimon should appear to answer your questions and fulfill requests. So you don't have to go chopping off heads. You don't have to sacrifice a virgin. You don't have to eat a baby. You can just prick your finger if you want it to. So that is, if anybody has any questions, I do not live in Buffalo, New York. It's an interesting question. Why do you ask? So the key things we need to realize when you're doing this is that you need to be respectful. You need to have a clear and concise question or goal. You don't want to do this because Paimon is known for kind of doing trickery with, like, if you ask, you know, the typical trope with devils is you ask for something, they will give you the wish, but then it turns out that it's really something bad. That could happen if you're not if you're cocky and you don't really have good answers and stuff like that. It might backfire on you. So you want to be very clear and specific about what your asks are. Once you have that, you know, all the other things I talked about, you would set all that stuff up. Definitely get in the right headspace. Once now Paimon could show up and tell you no. Just say, no, I'm not gonna work with you, for whatever reason that is. So it may not work. So don't feel like this is gonna work 100%. So yeah, thank you everyone who has been giving gifts to me. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions, let me know now, because we're going to shut down in a few minutes. This will be a good time to ask any of your questions on King Paimon. If you haven't listened to the Real Demons of Pop Culture podcast episode on King Paimon, definitely check that out. It's on all streaming services, so you can find it anywhere. But you have to understand that demons... How do you become a demon hunter? Well, first you got to learn a lot about the demonology. So you could go out there willy-nilly and just start shooting things, and then realize you don't know how you're doing, and you get yourself in a big mess. So don't do that. How to go into your podcast. So if you have Spotify, or if you have real quick about the podcast, if you go to my bio on TikTok, let me see, someone is asking a question. I got too many things going on. If you go to my bio on TikTok, you can click on The Real Demons and it'll take you there. Or you can just search for The Real Demons of Pop Culture on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to a podcast, just search for it. It's there. But you can also click in my bio and click on The Real Demons podcast. Books that I recommend, I actually have in a different room, but it's called Pandemonium, a visual history of demons. It's by Ed Simon. That's a really good place to start. And the reason why I suggest that is because visually it's really fun. It is a thick book, but it starts from like way back when. And then as you're going through, they have lots of books that he recommend. Well, I don't even know if he does recommend them in a way, but it's basically, he'll say quotes and from this book. And like, that's a great way. You like, oh, okay. And you'll write down the name of that book as you're going through it. So it's a really good starting place. It's called Pandemonium. It's either the illustrated history or a visual history of demons. Check it out. Mangus. By the way, is it Marcus Medrano? That's such a cool name. And in YouTube, we are summoning demons. Yeah, that's what we were doing. We weren't really summoning demons. We're giving you the tips and tricks on how to summon a demon. So, any other questions before we close for the evening? The demon hunter thing, oh yeah. Yeah, read the books and just keep watching. I'm going to talk about all this stuff, but I'm more retired in demon hunting because I want people to understand. I was just going to say this before all these questions, that demons, when you read about demons, you'll start to learn that they were never evil. That's a later invention. The original meaning of the word demon was just a spirit. And it didn't mean good, or like it didn't mean evil, or it didn't mean good. It was a spirit, and spirits could be good or they could be bad, just like people. And they could come and do very good things for you. But if you have bad intentions, just like in real life, right, you can use a gun to defend yourself, or you can use it as an offensive thing. And, I'm not getting on a bandwagon about guns. I'm just saying, like, it's whoever has it in their hand, they're either, going to do something bad with it, or maybe they'll do something good with it. So it's demon hunting thing is more along the lines like if you need to stop evil. But I'm not, I'm getting more into the demon side of things as much as I can to educate people about the history of it, so they don't just go willy-nilly running around killing a demon that didn't need to be killed. Wispy Doodles, hello. Any questions, please? Let me know. Questions. Let me see something here. Yep. I wonder why that's not showing up. I was trying to do I think I know why. We're going to fix this real quick. Change the color here. And then, I know you guys don't know what I'm doing. You think I'm crazy. Save. Now I'm going to click on this. There we go. Showing that. What's going on tonight? Are we summoning demons? Yeah. Ryder Davison, another cool name. Thank you for joining. Okay. Any final questions? Thank you for the likes. Lowther Matthews, 1994. Thank you so much. So I haven't decided yet what, not this week, but next week's demon is going to be. I'm still figuring that out. But if anybody has suggestions, you can find me on like Twitter or TikTok. It doesn't matter. Twitter is really easy. You can say, hey, James, why don't you do a, podcast on this demon? I just saw a movie and it was featured. Or I read a book and this demon was in it. Or because it has to be pop culture related. At least I want it to be. If you have an idea, my Twitch Scary Pineapple. Ooh. Radu, hello. There's demons in video games. There's demons in books and movies and TV shows. So any demon that you want to learn about, tell me in one of my social medias. All my links are in the bio. Just go to that. There is a free Facebook group called the School of Dark Arts that you should join if you're on Facebook. Marcus, I'm looking at you. Definitely the School of Dark Arts Facebook group. It's free to join, and I'm going to be putting a lot of just, thoughts and information in there. So if you're on Facebook, that should also be in the bio links, School of Dark Arts. And if you are listening, go into my bio and sign up for my newsletter, because that's every week, every Friday, a new newsletter, so I can tell you what I'm working on, what's coming up, and everything like that. And that is the newsletter in my links. All right, everyone. It's getting late here in the mountains, hiding out from crazy Christians who probably want me silenced. So I need to go. And I appreciate everyone who stopped by. I can't tell you how much it means for me when people say hello and stop by on these lives and watch me on YouTube and things like that. So starting By the way, if you like the live, this is usually it's on Tuesday nights, my live. So what I do is Monday night is the podcast. Tuesday night we do a live where I talk about the podcast. But because I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I had to switch it to Thursday. So normally it should be Tuesday nights. So mark your calendars. It won't be this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday after the following Monday. I know I'm making no sense. But if you follow me on all my social medias, you'll know what's going on. What's the difference between on Jinns and I guess is that demons? That's a really great question. Well, I did already go through the whole thing about learning how to summon King Paimon. Lauther, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. However, this is being recorded on YouTube. So if you go to my links in the bio, go to my YouTube and subscribe, and then you can watch the replay of this. I hope that answers your question. I hope you do go back and watch it. The difference between jinns and demons. So jinns are Islamic, pre-Islamic, Islamic, and jinns are kind of living in another dimension, if you want to think of it that way. So they live their life like they have families, they have kids, they live, they eat, they drink, they die. Jinns are kind of just in another dimension. I love jinns. I just think they are so fascinating to me. Now, jinns are neither good nor evil. A lot of them are good actually, but I mean they just do their thing. They mind their own business. They're not in our business, right? But you can summon jinns, and the singular for jinn is jinni, and the Western word for jinni is genie. So Aladdin and the lamp, that's a genie, that's a jinn. So just like we summoned Paimon to get things, because Paimon also is considered a jinn. The difference between demon, so a lot of this stuff existed before the monotheist religions. So once the monotheist religions came about, there's only one God. So any other gods or things like that become demonized. So you can call a jinn a demon, I guess, in the sense that I think demons are no different than jinn in a way, except for demons sort of in the Judeo-Christian sense are these spirits that you can call upon anything. But the jinn are more like a race of people that exist in a different dimension. They're invisible to us. They can see us, but they're invisible to us. So there's differences. Definitely. And to me, they are fascinating, but it's mostly Islamic, right? So here's a really good difference is in the Islamic culture, you die and you go to a happy place. You're not a ghost, right? In Judeo-Christian, it's like people die and we're like, oh my God, the house is haunted. Now, if you go to a Christian and you say the house is haunted, it could be the ghost of someone who passed and maybe they were killed in that house and now they haunt that house. That's not how Islam looks at it. That would be a jinn because there are no ghosts of people. Anything that's haunting is probably not good for you. Like it's a jinn. And if it's being like a poltergeist, then it's just a jinn who's having a bad day type thing. But it's not a ghost from a person who used to live. Fascinating. So I hope that it helped. I don't know if you're listening to my podcast, Luther or Lauther. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Hi, Leo Green Witch. I love that name. If you listen to, okay, so yeah, I did an episode on the jinn. And then I also did a live a couple weeks ago on the 5 types of jinn. So you can find that on my YouTube channel. And I talk about 5 specific types. There's many types of jinn, but there are 5 like very popular ones I did a YouTube on. So definitely check out that on YouTube. Do I believe in exorcism? Not, I would say I don't believe in exorcism in the way the Catholic Church thinks of it. No. I think there are ways of releasing a demon, or for me to believe in exorcism, you got to honestly like believe in possession, and most of what we would consider a demonic possession is not really demonic possession. And I think it's very, very, very scary that people can jump to that conclusion when it most likely is just mental illness that's not being taken care of. A lot of people with very, very, very strict religious beliefs will think that somebody's demonically possessed, and then it's actually just something that needs medical attention. So that's why I don't think exorcism is really needed. What most people need is that they need mental health care. But let's say we summon Paimon and then you didn't like end it properly or something, and you feel like the presence is still there. You can get the presence to go back. Like there are ways to do things. But most of the stuff that people buy into is from TVs and movies, and they're all made up to make people scared and things like that. So no, I think if somebody thinks that they need an exorcism, I would like get a second opinion from a professional first. I mean, a lot of people are harmed by these people who don't take any real science seriously. So, all right, I'll give you one more question if anybody has it. If not, I'm going to head out. So, all right, going once, going twice. All right, it was real fun, everybody. Real fun. I enjoyed having everybody here. Lots of good questions. Remember, this is going to be a regular thing. I have a blue-eyed demon in my basement. Help. Blue-eyed. Okay. Well, is it bothering you, this blue-eyed demon? Or is it just looking at you? And if it's a blue-eyed demon, like, how do you know? Like, what's happening to make you feel like this is really... a blue-eyed demon. Well, I got to get going, but send me a direct message and I will talk to you about that. All right. All right. Send me a DM, Neomond, and we'll talk. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for stopping by.